welcome to our speaker series. I am super excited to be here today. My name is Debbie Levine. I am a member of the NCGR Florida Atlantic Chapter, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Kathy Allan today. She is our next speaker that will be visiting us on January 18th. So it's a very cool topic. We're going to talk more about it, but mark your calendar. It is January 18th, and it's going to be a hybrid event, meaning that it will be in person and you could also watch it online. So if you're not local or don't want to come and visit us in sunny South Florida, you can enjoy this workshop online via Zoom. So that is January 18th. And the topic of the day will be dial in the year. Dial in the year. And when I first saw this topic, I thought like, oh, this is in January. We're going to be focusing on 2025. But no, 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 no. We're dialing in your personal year. This is your personal year. And we're going to be starting with our solar return charts, but then she has a whole bunch of techniques and other things we're going to talk about in a little bit. So you're going to get to hear all about it because I'm super, super excited to look at, not only my personal chart, but for my clients as well, to look at it from using these different techniques and tools that Kathy is going to share with us. So I'm going to turn it over this minute and introduce Kathy Allan and let her tell you a little bit about herself. Kathy, we'd love to know, one, where you live. I know you once lived here in Florida with us, and how you got into astrology, right? Astrology finds us, right? All different times in our life, and I'd love to hear your story.
Well, thank you very much, Debbie, for doing this. And I look forward to seeing everybody in Florida next week. So I found astrology about 25 years ago. Well, actually, earlier than that, when I was around 15 years old, my mother had Linda Goodman's sun sign book.
Yes.
And I read that and I thought, oh, I'm an Aquarius. And all my brothers and my brother and my two sisters were Scorpios. And oh, yes, they're definitely Scorpios. So, then I went to a university and I took astronomy. And the professor said, astrology is bunk because astrologers don't know about the precession of the equinox. So then I thought, okay, well, astrology is bunk. I'm not an Aquarius, I'm really a Capricorn. And so I just dismissed it for years. And so I went to grad school in Texas, I got married, lived in Washington, D.C. for a couple of years, and then had two kids, and then moved to Africa and lived there for 12 years, and then came back in early 2002. And I used to go to this Reiki circle near my house. And the man who ran the Reiki circle, he was like just the most, he was a shaman priest. He was American Indian. And, I just had so much respect for him. And he had an astrology class. And I was like, oh my God, don't you know astrology is bunk? The astrologers, don't know anything about well, I didn't say this to him, but I was thinking this. I thought, you know what, if he thinks there's something in it, I'm going to go hear what he has to say. So I went into that class and I walked out a different person. From then on, all I wanted to know was more about astrology. And that is basically all that I've done since then. So talk about a life-changing event.
Yes.
And that was it. And I lived in Fort Pierce, and there was like no astrologers in Fort Pierce. Took me a year and a half to find a teacher up in Vero Beach. And then, I saw that, there are groups down in South Florida. Also, the SFAA is there. And so twice a month, I would drive down and go to the workshops.
Wow.
So that's how I came to be here.
Okay, and since then, now you've written two books, and one I love because we're about to have a nodal shift, and I know one's on the lunar nodes. How did you get so excited and focused on that?
Well, it really bothered me that I read conflicting things about the nodes. Some people, the meanings were interchanged. That, the North Node can't mean this and its opposite, and so on. So the nodes have only been used in Western astrology since the early 1900s. So I went back to the very beginning books and I ordered every book on the nodes that I could find. And I started reading them in order so I could see the evolution of the thinking.
Mm.
And the problem was Dane Rudyard. In 1940s, he said, the North Node means this and the South Node means that. And then 30 years later, he said, oh, I wrote in that other book that they meant this, but I didn't take into account that they moved retrograde, so reversed the meaning.
Yeah.
But in that time, many people had taken what he meant from the first book and just ignored what he said on the second book. And so um, that's how I got into writing the book. I found it very, it explained a lot. So
Right.
just think North Node is uplifting, it's strengthening, and the South Node is letting go, falling away, falling into a hole. Um, so
And
that's,
was that your first book?
and that was my first book. Yes,
First book, awesome. Do you have a copy there? We
I
always keep
do.
copies, right?
That's,
There it
there
is.
it is.
Worlds
And
collide. I love it.
and Mimi did the cover for me, and
Oh,
yeah. And
exciting.
then I have my other book, um, working with Midpoints, that Yvonne published this book. It came out last year, and that's part of what I'll be talking about next week is
Oh,
Midpoints.
perfect. All right. So yeah, so let's talk about that. So um let's help everyone see what they're in for because I know it's a treat. So we're going to dial in the year and we're going to start and just so we know for participants, I like to always know this up front for is this good for any level? Like if you're new to astrology, can anybody?
Anybody can come. It would be helpful if you know like what the planets mean. That's basically all the background that you need to know is what do the planets mean.
Perfect.
I
And
uh, I gave a talk in 2019, a workshop um, on midpoints, and so I was worried that a lot of people that went to that talk, would come on Saturday or would not come on Saturday because they thought that they'd heard it all before. And so I thought I would, instead of giving a background, I'll do a very brief background. Uh, so for anybody can, get up to speed quickly. And then we'll apply it. There are some things that I learned in that 6 years that, my thinking on the midpoints has evolved. And so there'll be
right.
a few different things. Yeah.
Yeah, we always keep evolving in our interpretations and how things progress. So, okay, so just as some more just tactical stuff. So for those that do come and join us for this workshop, they should bring a copy of their chart. And
No, I'll have my laptop, and so I can make their chart.
oh,
Um, they can look at it, they can bring it if they want, and so they can, look at it for themselves. But it might be better or easier to do that after they hear
yeah.
it. But they can bring it. Yeah, bring it if you want.
Okay,
Um,
perfect. All right, so okay, so we're going to dial in the year and so let's help the audience understand like what we're going to do because you already started to tell us a little bit, but what should we expect? What's the outcome of this workshop once we uh work through this with you?
all right. So what we're going to cover is we're going to, when I say the dial, we're going to look at the 90-degree dial in addition to the 360-degree chart. So we start off, we're going to look at the natal chart because everything that happens is all coming out of the natal chart. So if you don't have an understanding of that, you can't really see what's going to happen because that sets the tone for everything.
Okay.
And then, so we're going to look at solar arc. And so this advances the chart 1 degree a year, everything. It's
Right.
exactly the rate that the sun moves. So we're going to look at solar arcs, and they kind of set the underlying tone for what you can expect. So then we're going to look at the solar return in the 360-degree chart, see what that has to say. And then we'll look at the solar return chart in the dial, which is where the midpoints will come in. You will be amazed at how specific that they can be. In fact, once you learn how to use midpoints, you can just look at the midpoints on the solar return and see, what's going to happen. And I'm going to go through a very detailed case study and, show how all of this works.
Okay.
But then from the dial, we're going to look at the transiting ephemeris over the year, which is a graphic presentation of where all the outer planets are moving. And so we can see, what months are going to be active. We'll look at how to progress the solar return, which is very cool. And we'll look at some declinations as well, because I have found that because the declinations are more earth-based, that you can't really ignore them if you're looking for an event, that they show up very clearly. And you can also look at midpoints in declination. For those who know Scott Silverman, he showed me how the technique, and then I'll share that with everybody as well. And
Wow.
then when we get done, what I would like the participants to do is to think of a year in their life that was like transformative, like me finding astrology.
Right,
And
right.
we'll look at that year, because now we can ask questions, and we'll look at the midpoints, we'll look at the declinations, the transiting ephemeris, and we'll try to figure out what happened.
Okay.
And I find that that's the best thing you can do to learn astrology, is to make your predictions and then look back and see how they were. So if we look at next year for people, we don't get any feedback because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right,
But if
right.
we look at a past event, then they know, but they don't tell us, and we try to figure it out. And so
Ah,
we can see how the charts are working, and how does this guy, show you this.
right,
So
right.
so
Okay.
that's what I have planned. A lot of background techniques, and then we'll apply it to people's charts. So
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a filled day, a fun-filled day, right? There's a lot. It sounds like when you first look at it, you're like, we're going to dial in the year, but there's a lot of different steps. There's a lot of different angles that we're going to be looking at this particular year.
exactly, yes. So when you look at it from all these angles, then you really get a good idea of
Right.
what's going to go on. And
And
then
you've already,
everybody can take that information and, dial in your own year for
yes,
next year and see how it works out.
perfect. And do we always start this year on our birthday? Is that why you start with the
Yes,
return?
yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I do it anyways.
Perfect timing for me because my birthday's in April, so I'll get this
Well,
all.
you'd be ready. You can do it for
I'll be
now
ready.
and look in the past and see,
I'm already starting to think I know years of where my life had major transformation.
yeah,
And I love that you are sharing all these techniques because they always say like, if you see something once, like it could happen. Twice, you're like, oh, that might happen. But if you see the message and all that coming together multiple places, multiple times, you're like, oh, you know, it makes us feel more certain in the events that are unfolding.
yes,
So I love that. So it sounds like you have a case study already prepared that's going to help us see these techniques, right, in
correct.
action. And
Yeah,
then after that, you'll be looking for volunteers, right?
correct.
We won't be
Yeah,
able to do this for everybody.
we won't know. So I think write your name, put him in a hat, and somebody will choose, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Yeah, it's always nice to see like case studies are great, right? Because we pick someone that people know and they can see, but having an actual participant and
That
seeing
can
it.
answer questions and give feedback. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, this is going to be an exciting, exciting day. So, as a reminder for everyone, this event is on January 18th. It is happening down here in South Florida. I'm sure our link for getting tickets will be below this video. And you can join us either in person or enjoy this on online on Zoom. And everybody who registers will get a copy of the recording. Everybody gets a copy of the recording. So,
And they can get a copy of the PowerPoint as well.
oh, great. You're going to give the
So,
PowerPoint. So, yeah. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about Kathy, you can go visit her website, just kathyallan.com, right?
yep.
kathyallan.com. Check out her books and anything else that we should know for our uh, upcoming
Just
event.
come on out. I put
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of preparation into it, and we'll learn a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Look forward to seeing
2025
everybody.
has a lot, right? 2025 is a transition year of change. I'm calling it the
Yeah,
dress rehearsal year.
yeah,
Okay. Well, they're just in there for a little bit. It's like the dress rehearsal before the first act. And so I think this is perfect timing for us all to get some, greater insight into what this year, so we could dial in the year. And I'm guessing then we know when there's times during the course of those 12 months that we should be taking action, planting seeds, harvesting seeds, all that good jazz, right?
exactly. Yeah. When are the easy months? When do you have to brace yourself for
Uh,
big, hard times? So, yeah.
would you be up to sharing any a personal story or something of an example of where you've used this for yourself and how it's come out? Or hey, I'm sure you've gone back and looked at your transformative time, right?
Well, that's yeah, where it all came from. So what did I have to include to get the picture? And an example. As you'll see, there's so much information. We'll just have to wait till next Saturday and see it.
Okay. I love it. It gets the curiosity going, right? So if
Yeah,
you want to know, right, if you want to know what's in store and how this all works, make sure that you come join us January 18th for Kathy Allan. Dial in your year, and that way it will help you really thrive in 2025. Thank you,
there you
everyone.
go.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank
So
you.
much fun. Bye.
Bye.